I don't think he didn't say she was rude to him, but she said, "Oh, no thanks, I'm not pregnant," and that
Ooh,
kind of took the wind out of his sails. And he said, "Oh, okay." And it was obviously a bit pointed that she felt she was being offered a seat because in some way she needed a seat or whatever. So she took
yeah,
offence. And although I wouldn't like to think that kind of thing is common, it does
yeah.
happen. I saw, I don't know whether you go to the cinema much, I go sometimes, and I saw a week or so ago the film F1, Formula One, about the Formula
Right,
One races. And it
right,
starred Brad Pitt. He was very good, and his role was a racing driver,
right,
and he was called Sonny Hayes. That was his name in the film, Sonny Hayes.
right.
Well, his team, I forget which, it was probably an invented name for their team. There was a Formula One race, and he was racing. And of course, when the cars, as you probably know, come into the pit stop, they can have their tyres changed or some other aspects of the car. So as
Yeah,
soon as it comes in, there's somebody at the front to jack it up, and then there's teams, a couple on each wheel. And it's quite incredible because it showed it in the film, but we know that when these things happen in real life, the car comes in, stops in exactly the right place, the jack goes up, wheels change, 2.9 seconds, the car is off again. I mean, it is phenomenal. So
uh-huh.
when they know the car is in, they're telling him to come in. The team comes out and they're waiting in their spot exactly to make it very quick. Well, in the team in the film, there was a young woman, clearly a very capable young woman, but amongst all the men mechanics, she was the only woman mechanic. There was another woman more senior. So
Yeah,
when the car was coming in, she was one of those who rushed to one of the wheels, waiting. Well, the car came in, and of course, it's vital they get a good quick changeover to maintain a position in the race.
right.
Well, she messed up. She didn't do something right. She couldn't get the screw of the wheel back on the wheel properly. So instead of 2.9 or 3 seconds, it took to about 12 seconds while she managed to eventually get the wheel back on.
Right.
So it didn't help the race. He didn't win that race anyway, and it was a stage of the film where he wasn't going to.
Yeah.
Anyway, after the race, they had their debrief, all the people sitting round, including the driver, Sonny, and it got to the point, there was all discussing what happened, and why he didn't win, and so on. It got to the point where this young lady's mess up, her mistake,
Yeah.
came to the fore. And it was said, people didn't hold back, but they were not nasty, I thought. They would just say, well, you obviously got to learn by that, because she was fairly new in the team. And it was a bit awkward for us, and we felt a bit let down, blah blah blah. But so people were honest, but not unkind, but there was this kind of deathly silence when this had been said. And she looked a little bit awkward, although who knows what was inside her. Anyway, at that point, Sonny said, he sort of took the heat from me. He said, "Oh, well, let's be fair, guys. She's new on this. She's normally brilliant. She's great at what she's doing." In other words, he really chivalrously, if you like, boosted her up,
Yeah.
he should have done, I guess, or so he thought. Anyway,
Yeah.
they moved on and talked about this, that, and the other. A bit later, after that meeting, he was relaxing with his mates, and the girl came in and called him aside, and she said, "Oh, Sonny, I just wanted to say thank you for what you said. For saying what you said and standing up for me. But please don't ever do it again."
Whoa.
And he sort of what? And he looked, and he said, "Well, why'd you say that?" And she said, "Well," she said, "you just made me feel useless and hopeless. Like, A, I couldn't cope in that situation, and B,
Whoa.
that, oh, well, if I make a mistake, putting the wheel on, it's because I'm a female." Putting the wheel on, it's because I'm a female. If I made a mistake, I expect to be criticised, which I was, but I don't need anybody else standing up for me. Now, I thought that was quite an interesting way the film displayed that, because it
Yeah.
it kind of says everything I've been trying to say about the fluidity of gender roles now. Things are not the same. And
No.
although, yeah, I think most women in that situation would be grateful for someone standing up for them, I can sort of also understand, if we reverse that and say there's a guy in with a bunch of females and the guy messes up, and then we're told, well, you messed up, don't do it again. Fair enough. And then someone kindly, with very good, kind intentions, says, well, yeah, but he does really well, and he's only learning. That you could imagine that could come across as condescending or patronizing. Oh, well, it's only because he's a young man or whatever. So I think we have to try and navigate this change that women, in their quest, the perfectly understandable quest to be equal with men, which has largely, or in many ways, been achieved, in some ways not.
Yeah.
I think we just have to keep that kind of stuff in mind, that people, women ordinary things during the day, if you hold a door open or invite someone to go through first, they might think, well, hang on a minute, I'm just the same as you. Please don't treat me like that. Can you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's a difficult path sometimes to navigate. It really is.
Well, I don't. No, no. All right. So the women's case, in the woman's case, in the scenario that you just said about, yeah, it's understandable. But I don't think a man would react. I don't think a man would feel it would feel like he was
Patronized, perhaps.
Yeah. I don't think so, because men don't think that way. You're in the midst of an all women team.
Yeah.
And one woman sticks out for you, stands up for you, or whatever, defends you. I think you'd be grateful, actually. Would you not?
I think it depends on the situation. Yeah, I could never imagine myself doing anything other than expressing my gratitude and thanks for someone standing up for me.
Yeah,
because the way I see it as well, Cuz, it's kind of a similar thing. Something I've always been aware of. I mean, when I worked for a living, I used to sort of chair meetings of people and so on, and I was always aware sometimes somebody would say something and then somebody would react, and somebody would get really embarrassed. Now, I think maybe